And then the day you get sick, or you have to go somewhere, something happens to your family, you don't make money. So that's our normal way of doing it. What I found was the best way to do it is you work for a short period of time, and then this short period of time gives you money for ongoing basis, residually, without working. So passive income, we've all heard it, but the big thing I find is that we don't really do it. We don't do it. I mean, if I was to ask you all, what's a passive income? You would be able to say, you know what passive income is. It's basically making money while you're sleeping. But are you doing it is the issue. At the end of the day, whatever business we're in, it's okay to work really hard for a short period of time and then work with your passion and get money in. So let's say when I'm coaching people, you say to me, I want to make $5,000 a month without working, $10,000 a month without working. So that's my bill. That's financial freedom, by the way. So you figure out what is your monthly expenses, add a few $100 more, and let's say that's $5,000. Well, then you say, this is financial freedom. Why? Because now you don't have to work for the money. Money is coming to you without you working or not. Sometimes I take off for a month or 2 months or 3 months, and people wonder, how can I run 4 businesses and still do that? So most of us who have money sometimes can't do things because we have no time. We cannot leave our business. We're busy all the time, right? So in this case, what you do is you become busy for 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 6 years, whatever it is. Whatever the timeline is, after that, you should set it up so that it's like that. So if we go back to 1,000 years back, we hunt, we eat. Today, we work, we eat. So in the past, you're able to chase an animal, and you're able to get that animal, and you lived. And your lifespan was maybe 35 years old, 40 years, because after that you're not strong enough to do these things, right? And then one day you die because of that reason. So today we work hard, get money, work hard, get money, and all that stuff. The big revolution came when people said, wait a minute, why don't we do something where something just grows so we don't run out of it? And you guys know what happened, right? What was that? What was the big revolution after hunting? What happened? Agriculture, farming. Because what happens is that if you have this land and it has 20 animals, you really have to make sure that we have more animals on an ongoing basis. But if you have this land, all of a sudden somebody figured it out. You know what? We can raise animals. We can put a cage or a barn around it so they can't run away. And now we don't have to hunt every day. Or we can grow stuff from this year, cut it. Next year, do the same thing. And so that was a big revolution for us, right? So passive income is like buying a farm with cows. So you have 1 cow, 2 cows, 20 cows. And you then put a border around it, and you put 20 cows in here. And each cow gives you 10 liters of milk, okay? And now 20 times 10 liters is the milk. And when I'm talking about milk here, I'm talking about money in real estate. Okay, so every day somebody goes out and milks the cows, right? The cows are fed and they're taken care of, and then milk comes out, and then the person who takes the milk out gets a glass of milk, and you get the bucket milk because you own the farm, right? And then you then take this, and that's your way of living by drinking. Let's say milk is the food, let's say. So if you get that in mind, now on, your goal should be to say, how do I build the farm? That's the ongoing challenge, and your plan should be. I can work here, I can do marketing, I can sell books, I can sell paintings and all that stuff. That's going to help me live. But how do I build this farm? Because if you don't build this farm, then you're going to keep working for the rest of your life hard, because we were brainwired for that. For the first 7 years of our lives, we're in hypnosis. Meaning, whatever our parents do, we see, and all that stuff, whatever they say, we absorb that. So we are acting on that first 7 years, and like crazy, because subconscious mind is. And so first 7 years, work hard, go to school, memorize this, and if you don't get a good mark, you're not a good kid, or you're not as smart as the other kids, stuff like that. So basically, you get a farm, you get 1 cow, first cow, and what you do is you get a management company or a person to milk your cows. Or you can get up at 4 in the morning and start milking the cow yourself. Okay? My way of doing it is get somebody else at 4 o'clock. You still be sleeping, because my mom told me all my life that if you wake up late, you'll amount to nothing, and you have to get up every day early in the morning. And today, I wake up late every time. So I'm okay. It's okay, because you get somebody else to get up, and they will still have to clean the cow and take care of the cow. And once in a while, you go to the farm, you make sure that they're doing your job properly, the cow's doing good, and all the cows are doing good and all that stuff. So they milk the cow for you. You give them a glass of milk for their efforts, which is 10% of, let's say, the revenues that you generate, 8%, whatever it is. And the rest of the big thing is the fact that you own the cash flow as well as you own the farm. That is how you become wealthy. 80% of people on this planet, 80% of the people on this planet became self-made multimillionaires from real estate. That is a fact. You could be in whatever business you're in. It pays your bill, you save money and all that, but to become financially free, it's real estate. That's a fact. So now, if that's a fact, that real estate is, and it's not today, by the way, it's not 5 years from now, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago, or 100 years ago, or 1,000 years ago. When the kings owned the land 1,000 years ago, they're the wealthy people. People who own land were wealthy people. People who worked on the land were not wealthy. That's just the way it is. Today, real estate is defined not by land only, but it's defined by townhouses, condos, and commercial properties, real estate, detached houses, and whatever it is. So the simple fact is, house represents the cow. The milk is the passive income that's coming in. Management company is the person who's milking it for you. Okay? From now on, you just say, how do I get one more cow? So you add a cow. So how do I add a second one? How do I add a third one? How do I add a fourth one? And you do not stop until what? Until
77.
What? Until 77. Until 77. Or you don't stop because you wrote down, I will be making $10,000 a month passive income. So until you're making $10,000, you keep building this, right? You keep building this farm, okay? So what I did here, and then what I did here, short term, long term. Short term is that if you don't have the money or the credit, you can't be here. You can't be here. So then what did I do to make it so then I was making money here to buy this, okay? And I employed a lot of no money down strategies, okay? One of them was assignment. Assignment is like a mini flip, okay? It's a mini flip. And the way the assignment works is, let's say you find a property, okay? And in the contract, along with other stuff, clauses, you say this contract is assignable. And what assignable means is that it could be assigned or given away or sold to somebody else, okay? So it must say that it's assignable, and you are doing the contract with this person, okay? You take the contract. This property is worth $200,000, and you buy it for $150. I'm just making the numbers up right now. $200,000, you get it for $150. You take it, and you know that she's able to buy investment properties, and she's looking good for good properties. I go to her and I say to her, this property is worth $200,000, and you can have it for $160. How much did I buy for?
$150.
Okay, so she gets it for $160. So she makes 40 grand and I make 10 grand. And that's how I placed it. Instead of saying, oh, I'm making $10,000, I hope it's okay with you and all that stuff. The way I presented to her was that you're going to be making 40 grand, are you interested? Right? And then when she says yes, that's when I say to her, by the way, I hope it's okay that you're making 40 grand, I'm only making 10 grand. Is that okay with you? I had people go to people and almost beg and say, can you please give me 5 grand? I hope it's okay with you because, blah, 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 right? Yes.
To do this transaction, do we need to have a real estate license or no?
No. So the idea is that you own or control the property as soon as you sign the contract. Okay? So now you own the property and control it. And therefore, you're not making a commission, but rather you're making a profit on a mini flip. Okay? So I did this, and when I gave it to her, Did I have to use a lawyer for me? No.
No.
She had to use the lawyer. What I did was there's a piece of paper, which is in that 7 Mistake book that you probably saw when you came in. In that, there's an agreement that says an assignment agreement. So that you take a piece of paper, give it to the lawyer, her lawyer. And the lawyer, what he does is he says, okay, he's buying it for 150, 10,000 goes to Sunil, money, land transfer tax goes to this guy, that guy, my fee is this much. So her lawyer writes me the check.
But so, to back up, you find a property, how do you get that property to do what you just did?
How do you find the property?
No, once you find a property.
Yes.
How do you do what you are saying, you know, the assignment contract?
Yes.
Right? Do you not need to do a deposit?
So if I'm putting a contract in,
Right.
then you put I was putting the deposit. And
You were
someti-
putting the
Yes,
deposit.
I was putting the
Okay.
deposit, and there was a 30-day, I was trying to get 15 to 30 days of clauses. So first
I
15 days
see.
this, then review by my lawyer, conditional upon financing. I was even doing conditional upon review by my partner.
Gotcha.
Okay, and the beautiful thing about real estate is that you can buy it, control it, and then give it back if it doesn't work out, right? The only trick was you must keep track of the days. So if you have 15 days, I would say 15 business days. So now we're 3 weeks, right? Or I would say 20 business days instead of saying 1 month. It's 20 business days, right? It's just reasonable. And when I got to the 15th day, I would go back to them and say, look, I'm working on this and this and this, so everything looks good. I'm working on one more thing. I need 15 more days extension. Now, these people have already sold in their mind. Depending upon what kind of credibility you have with them, they will usually extend it because.
So in the
it's sold.
agreement of purchase and sale, you would have a clause in there talking about being assignable.
The agreement has to say that this contract is assignable. It has to say that. Most of them say that it's not assignable.
Right.
And sometimes what
Unless it's a condo or something.
Yeah, and even condos, you have to have an
Yeah.
approval from a builder, which these days they are giving away. In the olden days, when I started, having an assignment from a builder was big thing. Today,
Right.
it's just normal because they're getting to the point right now where condos are not selling as fast and as quick as before in the past, and the prices have gone up so much. So basically, what I said to myself is, how do I do this? So I do the assignments, and the amazing part is the cash came like that. And to me, $5,000 or $10,000 was huge amount of money. Like, that's a lot of money to make it happen like that. And initially, I had this feeling that I'm not worthy of, doing 5 hours of work and making $10,000. Man, that's like $2,000 an hour. That's stupid. Am I taking advantage of people and all that kind of stuff? So I took MMI, I took Tony Robbins, I took personal growth courses, and what they really taught me was, it's not the hour, it's the value you're giving. If she's getting $40,000 in 2 hours of my work, well, she doesn't care if I put 40, Now, there are some people who came to me who said, how much time did you put in there? I said, 5 hours. I was being honest, right? They're like, 5 hours, you're making $10,000? I had lawyers squash the deal because they thought I was making too much money. Okay? I mean, it's a good deal, you should take it, but I have one problem. Sunil should not be making $10,000, so let's not proceed. And the guys will come back to me and say, my lawyer says no. I said, you're making $40,000. Why would you, well, I can't go against my lawyer. I said, what would you, so I called, the first few times I called the lawyer. He said, look, this is my client, this is my, I said, what would make it happen? Lawyer tells me, if I drop my price down to $5,000 or $4,000 or $3,000, then he may consider telling his client, okay? So he thought, wait a minute, as a lawyer, I'm charging $1,000 for this whole transaction, and he's not even a lawyer, and he's making $10,000. This is not fair. That's the idea that came through, right? And that's how it. So what did I do? I told her right away. I said, look, you're going to go to your lawyer, and I'm going to tell you, your lawyer's going to tell you that $10,000 that I'm making and $40,000 you're making, the fact that you're making $40,000, that's okay. But the $10,000 that I'm making, that's too much. And if that's going to be a problem, we're not even going to proceed with this. So now I tell her that, they go to the lawyer says boom, 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 and she says, you know what, I'm okay with it. because I coached her what to say in advance. So then, how do I go from selling one to doing this? So, yes.
In the whole transaction, do we need to disclose that the Sunil is making this much money?
Yes.
Do we need to disclose?
Mhm.
Oh.
For assignments.
That's-
For flipping, you don't. So if you buy a property, you close it, and then you immediately sell it,
Okay.
then you don't have to disclose.
Okay.
Because that's like, your own property, you can sell it for whatever you want.
Okay,
But in the assignment, her lawyer gets a letter from me saying, make sure I get $10,000 before she gets a penny.
Okay.
Okay? So she comes up with a $160,000 check, and maybe $5,000 more for closing costs and all that. Lawyer pays everybody, and then he says, Sunil is to be paid before we close. Okay? And she signs on it saying, yes, I'm okay with it. I sign on it saying I need it, and a closing lawyer must pay me. All right? There are times when we sold like land, for instance, in the USA, no lawyer was used. Okay? You do the same thing, paperwork, and I just say to her, hey, look, I bought it for this much, you're getting for this much, and then she just writes me a check, and there was no lawyer used. And there's a closing title company in the USA, which is a common way to close in the USA if it's a smaller amount.
Yeah.
Are the people that you assign to, are they normally investors or are they actual residents of the house?
Are they investors or residential? Oh, so when I'm signing it, it's all for real estate that's residential for investors. And when we call it investor, everybody, a regular person, doesn't see themselves as investors like some of us.
Right.
Well, I didn't see myself as an investor, but when you buy a property other than for your own principal residence, you're an investor. Part-time or full-time, you're an investor. So I was only selling it to people saying, hey, do you want to make money? Not for a living. Now, if somebody came along and said, I want to make money and I want to live in it, awesome, here you go, right? But most of the time, my goal was to connect with people who wanted to make money. So then, how did I go from this into building a big farm and making $980,000, right? So when you write a book, so I wrote a book with Robert Allen as well, and the trick is very simple. When you write a book, you don't write a book to sell one book at a time. You can sell a book, multiple books at the same time. That is how you make money. So if you want to make money from books, sell 1 million copies, you get $2 per copy, that's $2 million. That's what it is, right? At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's the multiplication that makes you money. Walmart couldn't grow. McDonald's couldn't grow if they did not multiply, whether it's a franchisee system, whether it's dealership, whether it's licensing. So I said, how do I do that? So I had a gentleman in Mississauga who was buying 44 townhouses in Burlington. And this gentleman said he already bought a project, and his expertise was to buy a apartment building, townhouses, and convert them into condos. Condo conversion. Does anybody not know what a condo conversion is? And if you don't know, it's okay, I'll tell you.
What is it?
Okay, thank you. So let's say there is a condo building. You can actually sell each individual condo with title. When an apartment building, it's one title for the whole building, which means you cannot sell each deed per condo,
Okay.
per unit. So there are townhouses complexes around GTA, extended GTA, where in this case it was 44 townhouses and it was under one deed. It's under one deed. And as soon as you buy that and you upgrade it and you go through a process through the government to make a condo conversion, then each unit price automatically goes up. Because now you can say, I want to buy that townhouse, whereas it used to be a rental only. So what he used to do is he used to take that and change the rental unit into condo conversion and then sell individuals. So he'll buy it at this price, put this much money in, and then he sells it for this much. And these people are happy because what they did was they would do, let's say, the entrance, electrical upgrade, they would fix the roof, they would paint the inside, nice floors, new kitchen, and all that. So they said, you know what, each unit will cost us $10,000 because on a wholesale basis. 44 times 10,000 is 440,000. So that's how they did it. It's going to cost $500,000 to convert it through the government and all that. So they said we'll do it. So this guy was great at doing that. I had no idea how to do that. I didn't even know what a condo conversion was at that point until he explained to me. I said, that's awesome. He said, so I sat there and I said to him, what do you need? So the biggest question you ask to center of influence is, and center of influence is a person who has connections, who has money, who knows people, and who can get you to the next level. So instead of working with 10,000 people, you get 10 center of influences or 100 center of influences who can get you faster to where you want to go. Instead of riding a bike, now you're on a jet plane, basically. Boom, you're flying. So one of the things that I learned very, very quickly is a center of influences initially was, hey, can you coach me for free? Can I carry your bags? Can I sit with you in a plane wherever you're going and all that kind of stuff? None of that stuff worked. None of that worked because they probably get it so many people and stuff like that. What worked the most was, what is it that you're doing and how can I help you? And I knew already what they needed. So I basically offer that, and then they would say, wow, this is more valuable. And you do it without expecting anything in return. So this gentleman is buying 44 townhouses, and he was already working on one more project. And he said to me, I got a really good deal, but I don't think I can sell 44 townhouses myself. But I don't want to let it go. Okay, I said, so tell me what are you doing? So he tells me what he's doing. You can shut the door. So he tells me what he's doing, and I said, well, what's a condo conversion? He tells me the whole thing. I said, how long will it take? So he says, it's already in the process, we just have to finish it off. I said, okay, and what do you need? So I said, you know what, can you be upfront with me exactly what you're buying for, how much you're making? So he showed me. And he says, how many can you sell? That's what he asked me, how many can I sell? By the way, in order to sell for a developer or a builder, you don't have to be an agent if you work for them exclusively. So you can go to a building, brand new building, and say, I'm not an agent, but I'd like to sell you units, and you sign an agreement, say for the next 60 days you're not going to work with anybody, you're just working for the developer. It's legal to sell condos or townhouses or properties like that. So I did not know that until he shared that with me. So he said to me, how many can you sell? And when somebody like that says to you, how many can you sell, you have really no choice but to come up with something, or you just look really bad. So I said, I heard myself saying 20.
You heard it.
I said 20. Yeah. And you know what he said to me? He said, let's shake on it. Go ahead, shake on it. And you know what? I shook on it. And it's really, really scary to say to somebody that you can do 20 when you have no money, or not the money to buy 20 condos, or you don't know how you're going to sell 20 condos, or where it's going to come from. Okay? And 20 condos and $10,000 per condo. 20 times 10 is $200,000. Okay? I said, I like this. $200,000, if I can do that in 60 days,
that's
that'd be
pretty
awesome.
good. Yeah.
So now, your question would be, I shake hands and I say, I'm going to buy 20 townhouses from you. Okay? And he says, well, I can sell for 24 condos. And because of you, I can buy this whole big project and make it happen. Right? So he's making less money on the 20 condos that he's selling me, but because of me, he's able to get into the project. But then on the other 24 condos, he's going to make a lot more money. Okay? He's probably making like $500,000 on the project. So we have a lunch, we shake on it. I didn't know what an agreement was, how are we going to do it. He brought up an agreement. He says, here's the agreement, and you're going to be you're going to be helping me sell it, and you sign. And I looked at it, and certain things, we decided that, how much do I get when somebody signs on the dotted line versus when they close. So I said, I want $3,000 as soon as somebody signs off on it, and then $7,000 when they close. So then I can keep getting money doing that stuff, right? So he said, can you do it in 60 days? And I shook my hands and said, I'll do it in 90 days. Okay? Say it'd be 90 days. And he shook on it without even thinking about it, and it was 90 days, right? Does anybody have an idea, if you heard my story, then don't say it. Does anybody have an idea how long it took me and how I did it to sell those 20?
I want to know how you did it, but I don't know.
No? Okay. All right. So I want to let you know that a lot of these things, when you attract good stuff, you attract good stuff. When you attract poop, you attract poop all the time in your life. So I became a sort of a success magnet, right? So I go there, I go home, and I say to my wife, I just promised this guy that I'm going to sell 20 townhouses, and do you have some ideas? And she thought I was crazy. She said, wait a minute, what do you mean you're going to sell 20 townhouses? I'm not in business of real estate at that point, right? How do you sell it to regular people? You know, just to get people to, I had to get people to, get approval for mortgages, paperwork and all that kind of stuff, and all that stuff. So he gave me an agreement. I ran to UPS or Kinko, I can't remember, in Mississauga, not too far. I used to live around here. And I ran there, and I'm printing 50 copies of the purchase agreement, okay? And there's a real estate agent coming, and he's looking at it, and he's like, well, what are you printing, you know? I said, I have to sell 20 townhouses. And he's like, oh, you're crazy, whatever it is. Come in. Hello. So, I sit there, and I didn't know what to do. And I opened up a newspaper, and in those days, in Toronto Sun and Toronto Star and all that stuff, that's the one way all the gurus that were coming in Canada to teach, that's how they would advertise. Full page ad for 7 days in a row, and then you go into their free event, and then they sell you into a boot camp and all that stuff. So I just opened up that event, and I've already gone to Robert Allen's course, but I open it up, and then Robert Allen course is there, and there are other people that were coming in Toronto. And this guy was from Canada, so I can't say the name, so I won't say the name. So he's coming, so I, without thinking, it's this weekend, and I almost said, you know what, I'm just too tired. I got to think about how to sell those 20 townhouses, and why would I go? Forget it. I don't want to go. It's a waste of time. But something told me, just go, right? I go there, and I sit in the back, all just like sitting and just thinking that this guy is a scammer, or this guy's a scammer, this guy's a scammer, everybody's a scammer, coaching is scam, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, sure, somebody's got a secret, and then they're going to share it with the world. Yeah, it's right, you want to help the world. I just didn't believe all that kind of stuff, right? So I'm sitting in the back, and this person comes to me and says, hey, I haven't seen you for months. So they used to come really, really fast, because in those days, you say to people there's a real estate seminar, hundreds of people would just show up. It's just the way it was 10 years ago. Everybody just showed up, right? And stuff like that. So I showed up a month later, and this guru is there, and I didn't think, because I'm a shy guy and all that kind of stuff, I'm sitting in the back, he comes up, he's just walking by, and he says, oh, how you been? How are things with you? And by then I had done about 4 or 5 properties, and there's 20 properties I had to do, right? So unknowingly, I just said, yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm on my 4th property or something like that. And he goes, what? I go, yeah. He goes, tell me a little bit about it. So I'm thinking, why is this guy talking to me? How does he even remember me? So he's talking to me and says, okay, fine. So he goes back and, the break finishes, and he goes back up on the stage. And first thing he says is that, okay, guys, I want to let you know that, some of you are thinking that this won't work in Toronto. Is that right? And people raise their hands. Some of them, did like this, like that. So it won't work like that, right? Would you like to hear from someone? And I'm sitting in the back, not thinking that he's talking about me. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm just not thinking. He said, well, I'm gonna prove it to you that it works. People are like, okay, fine. And I'm looking around like, oh, I want to know. And he says, okay, so he goes, Sunil, yeah, can you stand up, please? I'm like, me? So I'm like this, I stand up. He goes, so you took this course about a month ago, yeah? And he goes, so you bought these properties, yes? And did you buy them below market value, yes? Did you buy it this way, yes? He goes, in fact, why don't you just come up on the stage? And the walking amongst the people, I could not even see anybody. And I thought I was walking in slow motion, and I had to run or something. I didn't know what to do. And I get on the stage, and I'm standing like this. I'm like really nervous. And the guy says, he just did question and answers. So you did this, what was the first property, what did you do, da. He goes, I said, yeah, well, it was pretty easy. I went there and I asked for discounted properties and I went to the script and yeah, I got it. He goes, so what are you doing these days? I said, well, I got 20 properties. So tell me about those 20 properties. Well, the property value is $250,000. I can get it for $190,000, $60,000 below market. He goes, wait a minute, are you saying in GTA you can get townhouses for $60,000 below market value? Is that what you're saying? I said, yes. Like I was really nervous. He goes, tell me about this. I said, it's going to be fixed. It's going to be rented. It's going to have rent-to-own tenants or renters in it. People don't even have to lift their hammer to do it. It's going to be, I'm going to make sure it's got fixed, it's going to be brand new basically, and it's going to be condo converted, and you get it for $60,000 below market value. The guru said, how many would like that? And I had about 70 or 80 people raise their hands. And I'm still not getting this, by the way. I'm still thinking that I'm not worth making this much money, right? How dare I make $10,000 per unit? Okay, so he gets me to sit down. So I sit down, and people, as I'm walking, are touching me, wanting to get my card and all that stuff. I'm like, what the hell? Right? So then in the back, I go sit down. Break comes. As soon as the break ends, I was just getting up, and I had storm of people run to me, right? And I'm like, yes. They go, can you tell us a little bit about those? And then everybody, can you tell me, And I'm like, whoa, hang on a second, what do you need? And so that day I sold 20 condos.
Wow.
Yes. I sold 20 condos and I had 6 people on the waiting list. So I had them write 26 contracts. And I said to the last 6 people, if somebody doesn't qualify, I might get you into this condo, okay? And within 30 days, I went back to the guy and I said, I have bad news for you, to the developer. And he goes, what's the bad news? So the bad news is that I do not need 90 days. It thinks I need more. I said, I don't need 60 days. Here are the contracts. And I threw the contracts on the desk, and he thought I was joking. And contracts with checks, $5,000 deposit checks were attached. And remember the copies that I was making? I just basically said to people, here you go, here you go, here
That's
you go.
right.
And then I went, the next whole week, I went them at Second Cup right here at Eglinton and Highway 10. From 10 o'clock in the morning till almost 6 o'clock in the evening, I was just sitting there, and every half hour, I said to people, if you don't show up, I'm just going to give it to somebody else. If you don't show up, I'm going to give it to somebody else. And people showed up. And they signed the contract, and at the end of the day, I just said, sign it. You have 10-day money or 15 days money back guarantee, and that's why it took me 30 days, by the way, because I wanted to go to the guy where people have already committed and their 15 days had passed.
Right.
See what I mean? So I basically sat there and I drank more coffee, more tea than I ever did in my life, even as a cop. And that day, that became my office, and for the next several months, that was my office, basically. If you want to see me, Second Cup, Eglinton and Highway 10, come and see me there. All the ladies got to know me over there, and I had a special spot where I would just sit there all the time and invite people to come in and do that kind of stuff. So I made $200,000, which I had never done in my life as a police officer in a year, right? I used to make, even as a platoon commander, I used to make about $100,000. This was a huge boost for me. And so my initial goal was, Sunil Tulsiani will make $200,000 by the end of the year. And within the first 90 days or so, I made the $200,000. I said, you know what? If this shit works for $200,000, I always wanted to be a millionaire. I wonder if this is gonna work, right? And so I wrote down, Sunil Tulsiani will make $1 million by the end of the year, signed, dated, Sunil Tulsiani, made 16 handwritten copies, no photocopy, no typing. I hand wrote them on a piece of paper, and I just put them all over my house, basement, where I'm gonna be, and every day I would watch it, okay? Like I said to you, $20,000 short at the end of the year. That's how I got into Toronto Star and some of the big newspapers. And I really wanted to actually be quiet and make money and just not deal with anybody. I just wanted to go do this stuff. And at the end of the year, when I did this, people said, hey, you should open up a real estate club. I said, what is a real estate club? They said, you know, where people meet together, network, and, you know. I said, I don't know what that is. And they said, okay, this is what it is. So they taught me. So some of my people that made money with me, they're like, let's open up a club. And I said, okay, who's going to teach them? They said, you. I said, you crazy? I'm a shy guy. What are you talking about? I can't talk in front of people. All my life, by the way, I've been told by my parents, my uncles, and all that I was stupid, that your marks are low, that you're not going to amount to anything, and all that kind of stuff. So you grow up thinking that you're only worth this much, right? You're worth $25 an hour or $50 an hour if you're lucky, and if you're lucky to have a job and all that kind of stuff, right? So somebody says, we want you to train people, adults, entertain them and make them feel good, and do business with them. I said, that's not me. I can't do it. And they kept telling me, and one day I got upset. I said, okay, we'll open up a club. We'll open up a real estate club. What's the purpose of the club? They said, just to teach people. I said, all right, we'll open up a club. And they said, what do you want to call it, Sunil? I said, well, you said it's private, and it's a club. I said, let's call it Private Investment Club. And that's exactly how the name PIC, Private Investment Club, came out to me. And it just was thrown to me, and I just said it. And then when I went to my mentors and all that stuff, I was taking some mentors helping me out. And I said, hey, I'm going to call it Private Investment Club. They said, wow, what an awesome name, because it's memorable, it's 3 words, it's easy to remember, it's a great word. How'd you get, I said, it just came to me. I remember going to this club, and I said to myself, how do I do this? How do I open up a club? And what I decided was there was a gentleman who was great in Toronto, who was almost like my mentor. And he said, you know, why don't we open it together? I said, thank God. I got somebody who's going to go on the stage. I can be in the back end. I can just help people come in and spread the word. This guy's going to do all the work. I'm just happy and all that stuff. I did not understand anything about the business of speaking, that there was a cost, that there was revenues coming in, that there was some stuff that money could be made. I didn't even know about the money part. I just wanted to just be in the club, right? Because it was becoming like a big family for me, right? So we do all this thing, we set it up, and I go there a couple of times, and this guy is awesome, by the way. He speaks, and he does really well. One day he comes to me, he says, look, you don't have an experience, so I'm going to teach you how this works. I said, great. He says, we don't want people to buy real estate. I said, what? He said, the way we're going to make money is we're just going to sell courses, okay? And we actually don't want people to buy real estate. Because if they got $20,000, we have a $20,000 course for him. If they have $10,000, we have a $10,000 course for him. If they have $100,000, we have a $100,000 course for him. If they buy a real estate and they spend all their money in real estate, how are we going to make money? And I said, wait a minute, I've been thinking, so you know, in the beginning you're thinking, how do you respond to that? But let's skip to that, and finally I said to him, I can't do that. I made my money by buying and selling real estate, and I help people make money in real estate. Now you're telling me our agenda behind the scenes is to not do that? He said, yes. He says, you don't know. I've been in the business for 30 years or whatever it is, and you're just starting out. You're naive. You're just starting out. You don't understand. And the hardest thing I had to do was to say to him, goodbye. All right? Say goodbye. Then I get a big guru. I mean, if I name him, you will know. Most of you will know, and all that stuff. Comes to me and says, I would like you to teach for us. And I said, okay. And then same thing, the big guru says, okay, here's the agenda. We just sell advanced courses. We don't, and you cannot do anything with your business, you know, you blah, blah, blah. Once again, somebody you respect really well, and I had to say no to him. So I opened up a real estate club, and I chose the worst month ever to open up a real estate club, which was month of January, okay? And in those days, it was a lot easier than it is today. And I said to myself, I go there, and the hotel has room for, space for 40 and 60. So, you know, they have 2 rooms, 40 people, 60 people. So I said to them, I'm gonna get the 40 people room, and I'm gonna need this for about 6 months, and I'm gonna do it every month. So I'm gonna book this for 6 months, only the small room. I wanna tell you, I'll speed up, that I had 122 people show up in January, in those days. And I had to cancel that hotel after the first meeting because that's the maximum they would allow in both rooms. And we broke some fire marshal's law because people were standing in the back and all that kind of stuff and stuff like that. And I remember sitting in one room, and there was a lady who was helping me open up the club, and I was so scared, I was so nervous that how am I going to motivate, teach, share something with these 120 people? How am I going to, like, they came to see me, like I'm just like I couldn't even stand properly. And there was another room we had booked. I was sitting there and really nervous, drinking a lot of water, drinking this and all that stuff. There was 2 rooms. In the back room, I go and look, and full, entire room is full. And I was hoping the tornado would come by, and then everybody disappear, and then we get to go home or something like that. Well, that obviously didn't happen. So she's talking, and she was supposed to talk for about 15 minutes, introducing the club, and I just kept saying, keep going, because now she's at 20 minutes, 25. I said, keep going. And she wanted to, you know, she's like, what's going on? Because I was really nervous. And then finally I go sit down, and then I got notice that she wants you up there now. So I go in the back, and I'm standing there. She's talking, and I know she's about to say, let's introduce Sunil, blah, 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 and let's get him on the stage and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know what's happening to me. I'm really scared, I'm really nervous, I don't know what to do. So she introduces me, and before this I've never spoken as a public speaker, or I think that I'm actually a shy guy, you know, never speak in front of people, all that kind of stuff, don't do it often. So I'm walking up to the front of the room, and as I walk up to the front, I turn around, and something happened. And I forgot totally about everything, and 2 hours later, I was still talking. And that day I found out that I was a public speaker, and people came to me and said, which course did you take? We want to take that. I said, no course has been taken. I just told you exactly what I did, and this is how you can do it. And that day, I became a public speaker. Yes. So let's go back to this thing about passive income versus the active income, okay? So we've been taught, we've been brainwashed, we've been brainwired to actually just work, and 65, 68, 70 years, or whatever age you're going to be on this planet, and then die. That's it. That's basically how we've been brainwired right now. You and I, doesn't matter what country we're from, what background we're from, our bottom line is, you gotta work hard and you get paid, right? If you don't work, you don't get paid. And in the best country, I would arguably say, Canada being the best country on this planet, we have more people living paycheck to paycheck with the stuff that we have here, the opportunities that we have here. We still have that only because between the age of 1 and 7, we were brainwired, and we were hypnosis. It was hypnosis for us. And anything that we saw, parents say, you can't do this, you're worth this much, we'll study hard, blah, 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 and stuff like that. That's what you took. And now we're just like big people with little kid still in the back there. So, if you brainwire yourself today to say, I need to buy a farm, in the farm we need to have cows, and then I'm going to hire somebody to milk my cows, and the more cows that I have, the more passive income I'm going to get. Cows represent a property. Milk represents passive income every month. Somebody who's milking for you is a management company. And so you basically say, this is my farm. You start with one property. You buy one property with the intent of having passive income. If the property doesn't give you passive income, don't buy the property. Okay? Don't buy based on one day my farm is worth this much, and then it's going to be worth this much. That's going to happen. You're going to have the appreciation. But what I'm saying to you is that if the property doesn't give you passive income, don't buy the property, in my opinion. Okay? So you buy one cow, and you buy a cow, and the cow doesn't give milk, then we're just waiting for to slaughter the cow one day, and hopefully we're going to get some money, right? So that's going to happen. However, milk, buy property. No milk, don't buy property. That's just the way it is. So when I was buying these properties, I was doing assignments. So out of the $200,000, I said I need $60,000 or $50,000 down to buy one townhouse for myself, right? So we ended up buying 2 townhouses in that property, and that's how I started to do, let's call it one of the no money down things at the end of the day. So no money down basically means that you need money, but you don't need to have your own money. So one of the ways to do that, why don't we say to us, the next 5 years, my goal is to work like crazy. Just for the next 5 years though. Not till I die, but next 5 years, I'm going to work really hard, and I'm going to build my passive income, and after that's done, I'm going to decide whether I want to work really hard, or I want to climb the mountains, I want to paint, or I want to do this, I want to do that, whatever your passion is, right? Because at the end of the day, wealth means you have to have time, you have to have money, not or, and. Not or, and. Because you know, you probably heard this, is money more important or love? What the hell? Money and love would be great. Money, love, friends, health, and time would be awesome. Why are we thinking in the or? Poor people and middle class people think in the or, rich people think and. Let's have both. Let's have both. Okay? So if you have a wealth chart, I teach that you put in the middle wealth, and then you basically draw things that says, what is wealth to me? So I will say to you that if you don't have money and you don't have time, then it's very hard to do a lot of other things. You want to spend time with your children, your spouse, you want to build a relationship, have good friends, time is very important. In fact, you come to me and say, Sunil, I want to be a member of your club and teach me how to make $1 million, I may be able to do that. You come back to me and says, I've lost 10 years, can you bring those 10 years? I can't do that. So the time is very, 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 very important. And the big things to understand is that in the olden days, if you have lots of time and no money, that's poor, right? In the olden days, if you have lots of money, but you have nothing else, you're rich. That's just the way it is. You got money, you're rich. But if you have money and you have nothing else, you don't have time, you don't have family, you don't have friends, everybody hates you, that's still wealth in the olden days. Today, I want you to have both. And then say, I want to have health. Then you say, I want to have a love life. I want to have a great spouse. I want to have great friends. Because today what's happening is most of us don't even have real friends. You know, how often can you drive to somebody at 2 in the morning without calling them and say, you know, I need this, right? In the olden days, that was common. You need something. You had deep relationships. We don't have deep relationships. And one of the things to understand is that we use stuff, social media for business and all that stuff. One of the things that I would say to you is that if you were to take the social throughout the day, because we are like people that have, you know, LinkedIn, Facebook, cell phone, text, Twitter, and phone calls and all that. So you're just basically doing this, and then you're doing this, and then you're doing this, and then you're doing this, and then throughout the day, you're just doing so much work and no focus. But most people are working really, 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 really. They're texting while they're driving, right? I mean, they're texting while they're on the toilet. It's just unbelievable. So, for you, I want to share with you something like this. In order for you to buy properties that are passive income, there's several ways. One is you have your own money, of course, right? Second is, of course, line of credits, equity in your house. Some of you can use RSP money to lend money as a first a lien or second lien as well. But bottom line, the way I grew was having other people's money and having other people's credit. Now, how would that work? Can somebody think how that would work? Like I grew at 20 and all that stuff, right? In 77 and then all the way up. The way I grew was this one trick. How would that be? Yes?
Well, I would imagine, let's say we have a husband and wife, and the husband has bad credit, and the wife has good credit, and they decide to go into an assignment property.
Mhm.
Then if the husband was the one, let's say, who came to your meeting, he'd go back to his wife and say, I need to use your credit. Does that
Okay,
work?
awesome, excellent, that's great. And that would take you to some degree. So what if you wanted to buy, let's say, what if you want to have, somebody said $5,000 passive income, right? You said 5 or more? So who said $5,000 passive income? I can't remember. Who? Okay, how much passive income you would like to have?
10,000.
10,000. You?
10,000.
You?
20.
20?
10.
10,000?
50.
50?
Yep.
10 to start.
10.
At least 10, yeah.
So tell me, just give me a number.
10,000.
10,000. 20,000. 10,000. So we have anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000. 10 being the sort of common one. And after training, maybe let's say, I would say now 300,000 to 400,000 people, I would say that average is about $10,000 is what people say. Some people will say 3,000, 7,000, 10,000, 15,000, but 10,000 seems to be a cool number for people to do passive income, right? So let's do this. If you are planning for $10,000, and let's assume you can make $500 per property cash flow, how many properties do you have to buy?
20.
20 properties. This is just so I can simplify it because I want to make it very simple for me and for you guys. Of course, some properties will only give $200, $300, $500, whatever. But let's just say, from our point of view, if one property gives us $500, you need $10,000, you need 20 properties, correct? So your goal should be from now on, how do I get 20 properties making $500 per month, right? And if you buy a property that gives you $300, now you add one more property to go to your goal. Your goal is not number of properties. Your goal is actually to save $10,000. So reverse engineer this product. Reverse engineering means you say $10,000, number of properties, and how do I get it? Instead of how do I get it, someday I'll buy some property and I'll get some money someday. And if I get it, that's great. If I don't get it, well, that's good too, right? So this has to be solid for you, meaning real for you to make this happen, right? And this way, what you do is you do a chart. And you know that's working for you because you bought one property, two properties, three properties, and you're up to the 20 property. And if you get to the 20 property and you wanted to make $10,000 and you only made $7,000 passive income, are you going to sit down and cry? No, you're going to say, okay, let's do $3,000 more somehow, basically. So how did I go from that to buying so many properties using other people's money and other people's credit? How do you think I did that?
Give the ROI on the people's investment.
Pardon me?
So giving the ROI to the other people's
So
investment.
tell me how, what does that mean?
Let's say, for example, if I tell you that if you invest that much money with me, I will give you that much interest or that
Oh,
much.
so return on money, okay. Okay, that's one way of doing it. It's a normal way of doing it. I'm gonna share something with you that was absolutely abnormal, because from now on, you guys are no longer normal people, okay? I want you to pride yourself on becoming abnormal people. In fact, somebody calls you normal, that's an insult to you, okay? Because normal people don't do this. Normal people don't get passive income. Normal people don't sit around and say, how do we make money while sleeping? Normal people say, how do I get a job? How do I work really hard? How much am I worth per hour? You know, if I got this kind of education, I'm worth this much, $25, $35, $50, $10, right? So abnormal people, what would be abnormal way of doing it? How would I go from buying, how would you go from buying 5 properties to 20 properties to 100 properties to 500 properties? How would you do that? So if you get this, this is going to be very valuable for you. And one of the ways that I did it is I talked about center of influence, right? Center of influence people. So you basically go to all the events, real estate events, and I had my own now after a while. And I said to people, I have 20 properties, 100 properties, 50 properties that I have that is bought, that's going to be fixed, that's going to have renter in it, that's going to have management company in it, it's going to be below market value, and you can buy it with no money down. I had in one day sold 70 properties like that. 70 properties in one day, and the people who didn't get in were upset that I didn't do business with them.
When you said that you had it, you didn't really have it.
No, because I have a builder, okay, and he has maximum of 70 units left, okay, and he comes to me and says, I got last 70 units left, and I can't sell it, or I can sell it, but it's going to take me a year. That means my people are going to stay there. I have to open up my office. Every day is costing me this much money, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, what if I buy like 20 properties from you? So that would help. But what if I go back? I mean, how did I do that? How did I do that?
Because he promised that he would allow you to do it. So then you went out and found people and said that I have this. In essence, you have an opportunity, and they bought into the fact that there is an opportunity, so they came on board, and then you went back to the developer.
Okay, so very good point. How, like that's normal way of doing it, right? You go up and say, have some opportunity, buy these properties and all that stuff. Here's what I said to them. Properties are bought, they're going to be fixed, they're going to be rented, they're going to have management company, and no money down. I mean, yes. See, that's what they said. That's what they said. In fact, they said, how many can I have it? And I had people get up from their chair, and I had like 120 people in the room that time because I sent out an email, you want to buy properties, no money down, below market value, that would produce positive cash flow. People thought that was a scam, right? I mean, they still showed up because they're like, well, we got to check it out, right? So all of them showed up, and what ended up happening is I upsetted more people that didn't buy it. And that day I learned lesson as to how to become the marketer. Because people said to me, you're a great marketer. I said, what the hell is that? You use NLP. I said, what the hell is that? You're a great networker. I said, what the hell is that? Because I wasn't a business person, right? So, any ideas how I did that? So on your side, you'd say, oh yeah, I'm in. But how the hell am I making it so that I'm making a lot of money, and you're making a lot of money, and the person who's providing the property is making a lot of money? How is that even possible that it's doable at the end of the day?
Because the builder has a take-back mortgage that he's
Okay,
offering.
so that could be
Yeah.
that could be one way of doing it. What else?
Oh, you use the money in the property to create the down payment?
That's it. That's it. Let's give her a hand. Let's give her a hand.
All
Let's
right.
give her a hand. So initially, you know the first 20 condos I sold? I gave people $60,000 discount. I realized very quickly that that may not be the best way to do it. Why don't I create passive income for me, make it very, very impossible for you to say no, and still give you a great deal? So let's say this is the property, and this is worth, let's say, in those days, it was very easy to do $200,000 property. And let's say if I can get it for $150,000, which was my goal of getting it 25% down, below market value. In those days, when you buy a 1, people will throw you out of the office, right? Then you say, well, what about 5? Okay, I'll give you like 10% discount. Really? What about 10? What about 20? And then now they're like, okay, he's adding value, so we have to give. So if the builder is buying it at 120 and he's selling it 200 because of that. But then if I come in and I say I'm going to buy them or sell them right away like that, you don't even have to hire salespeople. You don't have to don't even worry about getting a model home done. I had this guy, I said to him, don't even get a model home done. Just give me some pieces of paper, give me some numbers, I'll make some photographs, and I'll sell it for you. It's like, what? He's thinking of spending $250,000 on building a little model home, making it all that stuff. I said, don't have to do that. Don't have to do all that stuff. He's like, okay. And I said, you only pay me if I perform, really, right? And while this will not work today, because you need how much percentage down today as an investor?
20%.
20. So,
Investor?
as an investor, you need 20% down. Although it will work today, even if it's 20%, because that would mean that I'm still making $10,000, right? In those days, you could actually put 5 to 10% down all day long as an investor to do it, and it'd be easier to get mortgages and things like that. So this difference of $50,000 is what created the down payment, okay? And what I did was, I said, okay, there's a $50,000 profit. What if I give $10,000 discount to the person? What if I then give $20,000 as a down payment? I'm still making 20 grand and no money down, and now they're paying me mortgages every month, passive income coming in without me owning the property, and I'm getting cash flow coming in like crazy, and they got a property that they didn't have to negotiate, they didn't have to fix, they didn't have to do anything to make it happen. Now, how did I first get the money? So now, the question should be, okay, great, you only get the money once you sell it, so how was the money? So he says yes, okay? You don't have the money, but you have this good deal. He needs down payment. And I said to him, you don't have to put any money down. He is using his credit to buy the property. I'm generating down payment from the air, right? I negotiate a good deal, I find a good deal. I have the guts to go to people and say, I'll buy 10 properties, 20 properties from you and all that kind of stuff. He buys it. How does he get the down payment at the time of mortgage? How does he do that? How do I do that?
Savings. Home equity line, right?
Okay, so let's say I have 70 people or 10 people, and I need to give them $20,000. Well, that's a lot of money. I wouldn't be able to do that. How do we do that? Because you need the money first to make it happen. And it's very simple. It's called hard money lending. What that means is very simple. You take these contracts and go to a millionaire or somebody that you know, the center of influence that I talked about, and you say to them, look, I'm making $1 million from this project, and I need money for 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is, to make this happen. So they lend, I give them 20% return on their money. 20. But 20% for 1 month is what? 1.5%? 1.75? Let's say 2% a month. So what I said to the hard money lending is this: I'm going to need the money for 30 days, but I'm going to give you interest for 90 days minimum. Even if I use it for 30 days. 90 days for you. And people were lined up because they first didn't even understand that they're using the Fed. I said, look, you're going to put the property under your name. It's going to be under your name. I can't even take it away. I'm just going to put a little lien on your property to say you owe me 20 grand. And that's how we did it. And today, same thing can happen, but the only exception is you need 20% down. Okay? 20% down. So if you create this farm of passive income and it gives you the money, it doesn't matter how many properties you have, it's the transactions that matter the most. And that's it. So what I had was a lot of people say to me, wait a minute, I can find properties, but I can't find investors. I can't find hard money lenders. I can't find millionaires. I can't do that. Well, that's how I created Private Investment Club. The idea is Private Investment Club. In Private Investment Club, we have millionaires in the room. We have people who want to do this. They want to buy properties, they want to lend money, and they want to do this. You need to connect with the right people. That's how the money is made. I want to tell you something, that the education is very important, very important. And if this is 100%, this is how important education is. What else? What's 90%? What's the 90% for the student? How do you become very wealthy?
The desire and will.
Desire and will, yes. What else?
Transactions.
Transaction. How do you do transactions? I'm trying to. What's the 90% that makes people wealthy? And you know it.
Implementing.
Action.
Action, good. What else?
Time.
Time, yes, great. What else?
Connection.
Connections.
Connections. I mean, look, it's not rocket science. If your uncle was mayor of this place and you're building something and you're trying to get a building permit, it's not supposed to be. But do you think there's a little bit of a pull? When I was a detective, and I was in charge of this detective team, and we were selecting detectives for a squad, and I was the head, and there was two other people, detectives, who were choosing detectives. So detectives, they went through all the stuff, and then they're sitting in front of us at the final interview, and they're sitting there. That person who's a detective, let's say you need 75%. And this guy's got 76%, and she has 90%. I don't know her, but I know him. What do you think, look, forget about what the report says and what we say politically in front of people. What do you think happened that day?
You're going to go with the person you know.
You're going to go with the person you like, you know, and I'm not suggesting they're not capable. I'm just suggesting they may not be as capable on the books. But how would I trust this person if I don't know them, right? This person is going to work alongside with us. So in every aspect of life, number one way to become wealthy is to figure out, how do I get friends who are doing what I want to do? I want to climb this mountain. I want to climb this mountain, and this mountain has $1 million. I am down here. What's the best way to go to the mountain?
Helicopter.
I'm sorry?
Helicopter.
Helicopter, excellent. How else?
To get the other people,
Yes, go with a guy who's gone up to 100 cars. That's it.
In his helicopter.
Yeah, hit his helicopter because you know that he's done it, right?
Yeah.
Look, if you're in grade 12 and you and I are sitting and we have a mathematics and we have to pass math in order to go to university, and you need to get 75% or 80% in math to do it. If I get 99% all the time, because you see my results, right? I get 99%. What if you came along and sat right beside me? What if the high school allowed you legally to sit right beside me and said, it's okay, copy everything, right? And then you can even talk to each other. Why don't you explain to her how it's done? And so I explain to her, show her and all that. She copies. Would she get similar results?
Yes.
Yes.
But that's illegal, isn't it? Yes, it is, right? Say yes.
Yeah.
That's illegal. Okay, guys. Just in case you did it, it's illegal. It's not legal. In the real world, the business, that is the only safest way to do it. The only way of doing it. You get somebody who's done it. Hey, you got up there? Show me how to get there, right? And you then surround yourself with the people who are also going in that direction. We, middle class, poor people, are experts in getting people in our lives that are great for us, keeping them for a little time, and then throwing them out. Middle class, poor people are great at getting people that can help them. They keep them for a short period of time, and they kick them out by their action. The rich people, they hunt for people like that, and they nurture that relationship on an ongoing basis. That is the difference. That is the difference. So what I'm saying to you is, in order to grow, connect with COIs, Center of Influences. Connect with like-minded people, right? People who are doing what you're doing. And write your goal. People who do not have a goal, chances of them getting the goal is very, very little. They don't even know that they got there before they got there. And these people who don't write the goals are sometimes people who have some success. They have like success this much, and they got in certain ways, and now you really can't tell them how to do it. You can't tell them because I'm successful. But they want to go to the next level, and they get themselves a ceiling, and they hold on to that ceiling. And then once in a while, they'll lift the ceiling a little bit. Well, somebody comes along and says, why don't we lift the ceiling really high? They want to do it, but they won't do it because of their internal deep thoughts. At the end of the day, they won't do it because they're not worth it. Because when they were growing up, something happened with their families. Their parents told them they were not good enough. There's somebody that told them that you're worth this much. Okay? That comes back very, very quickly at the end of the day. So, to finish off, the way I find is the rich people, all my life, we were told that you're a regular person. You're stupid, you don't get good marks, you're not intelligent, you're not going to amount to anything. And in Indian family, what happens is all the uncles and extended uncles and uncles, they have kids, and they will say, you see this guy, his son, 95%, 96%. What do you got, 51? What a loser, right? By the end, my dad used to say to me, son, did you at least pass? I just want to know that you just passed, because if you didn't, that would really make me upset. And I remember looking at my teacher who gave me 47, and I said to the teacher, please, can you just please bump it up to 50? Because that's a passing mark. Please do it. What do I have to do? I'll come an extra time, I'll do an extra paper. And you know what? He made me do the paperwork again and all that stuff, and he gave me 51%, because he just felt sorry for me. Okay? Because I said, look, my dad's going to be upset. And so my parents said to us, our children, to their kids, that you guys are lucky if somebody even employs you. You're just lucky. In fact, my dad used to say something like, people don't study, they're going to beg. And do you want to beg? And they keep saying all that kind of stuff, right? So today, I want to tell you that my dad says money's not important. All his life he said money's not important, yet every decision is based on whether we can what? Afford it. In fact, rich people say, what do we have to do? Poor and middle class people say, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't do it. I don't have time. Really? Did you brush today? So imagine if I said to you, look, in order to keep your teeth clean, you got to brush every day, and that was not the norm. Normal people never did it. You would not say that at all because you're used to it. Now your parents told you. Now you're doing it on your own because it's a habit. So get new habits, and that becomes you. Get new habits, and new habits define you. Because right now you're going to do things that really sometimes make you feel like, am I a salesperson? Or am I doing something wrong? Or am I spending too much time on this or whatever it is? Or am I worth it? And one day when you keep doing this, that becomes you. And you automatically become a success magnet at the end of the day. Attract center of influences. Build relationships with people that have done what you want to do. Build relationship with people that have what you want to have. Family, money, time, helicopters, all those kind of things. You gotta connect with those people, so then you then go along the ride with them. Okay? Stop doing things what regular people do. So one way to check yourself is that when you're walking in a direction, stop and say, is every real estate agent putting their face on a business card that looks like this with the same thing? Yes, I got to do something different. I got to do something different. Is every person that I'm following doing this way and they're not successful? I got to stop. Let's do the reverse. In fact, if you do the reverse of most of these people are doing, then you probably are going to be fine. And lastly, become a magnet by doing things so that people are magnetized to you, so that right clients come to you and say, please work with us. Rather than you chasing people and saying, work with me. This is what the regular people do. Think about the big gurus. They stand there, people just show up, and there you go. There's a power. Stars say, I only use this pen. Well, that's bullshit, but you know that. But why do they sell millions of copies then of that product? Because she said, she has a power. she's a model, whatever it is. So you need to become almost like a little star within your area, and you don't have to do this big makeup and be on TVs and all that stuff. But what you do have to do is show people how you're different. Show people how you're different. What can you do? One thing you can do to show people that you're different. What do you think? Help them out. What can one person do to show that they're different? And if you get this, by the way, if it gets downloaded, and this today could change. Today could be a day that changes your entire life. And if you get passive income, go ahead, Randy.
Over deliver.
Over deliver. Excellent. What else? So if you want to stand out, over deliver. What else?
Go the extra mile.
Very similar to Randy, but I like that extra mile. Yes. What's the difference between a regular person and expert?
Well,
This much.
a regular person.
This much.
Yeah.
This much. They go the extra mile, you said, right?
But with what Randy said, she said over deliver. When I said the extra mile, I meant to say, when you're in a relationship, a business contract, then you're expecting something, and then if you give more to the person, they're going to be really happy. But what if you're in no relationship whatsoever, and they're not even expecting anything?
I see.
And then you go that extra mile, and they're like, oh my goodness, like, where did she come from?
Okay, so you go extra mile with the people you don't even know.
Well, yeah, that's
Okay,
what
awesome.
I do.
I like that. I like that. What else?
Yeah.
Yes.
Show up.
Show up. I
So
mean,
like,
look.
we invited lots of people here today,
Yes.
and
Show
the
up.
people that came to meet you.
Yes.
So we got to meet you today.
You guys
and
are
there's, there's
Very lucky.
There's 50 people that didn't get to meet you today. So if you don't, and
Show up.
it's similar with MMI, all the different events.
Absolutely.
You get invited, and just like yesterday at an event, and you never know who you're going to meet.
Absolutely.
So how can you meet the center of influence if you're sitting at home?
That's right. And you had a question? Answer?
No, I wanted to answer still.
Yeah.
If-
Yeah,
If
please
the
go
question
ahead.
is still open.
Yeah, still, go ahead.
Teach.
Teach. Yes.
What he learned,
Yes.
he can just teach and share.
Yes. Yes. So you become
The expert.
the center of influence.
Right.
And by teaching, you are the best student because you're teaching something. While you teach, you learn yourself.
Right.
Right? The best way to learn is to teach, right? And stuff like that. So that's good. So teach. Great. What else? What else can you do to stand out? Yes.
Be obviously authentic.
Authentic.
That's a big differentiator for you.
Thank you. Authentic is very, very simple. We should not even say in a business meeting that you have to be authentic, real, truthful. 100 years ago, that was just the norm. That's just the, when you went to fight, you're saying, okay, we're not going to use weapons. We're going to fight with bare hands, and when somebody says this, we're done, right? You're stopped. That's how you do it. Today, you actually have, if you do that, you actually stand out of the crowd big time. If you just tell the truth, shake hands, and do what you say you do, that is going to stand you out like crazy. And do not worry about, technically we didn't shake our hands. No, you shake hands, there's no technically. And of course, in North America, we need to have contracts, we have to have emails backing up, and to remember, that's fine. But we should never go to somebody once you shake their hands and say, well, technically it wasn't in writing, so that doesn't count. We should never do that. We should actually say to ourselves that our handshake and what we say is 100 times more important than what we put on paper. Paper should be a reminder. It should be something 5 years from now. What did we talk about? What was the condition? Oh, just let's go to paper. Not how we do it, right? That this is how I had people come to me and say, well, technically we really didn't have a deal yet. When we say, okay, let's go do this, and say, we'll do it, and we have no time to do paperwork, and you trust that person, and they go, well, technically I don't owe you anything because we really didn't have an agreement. Well, yeah, we did have an agreement. Well, verbal agreement doesn't count for them, right? That's no good. Great, awesome, that's good. What else can you do? What else to stand out? What else can you do?
Create a position for yourself
How?
by just showing up and making an offer.
Create a position. Awesome. So in order to go to the next level, connect with center of influence. I mean that I go across North America. and just talk about how to connect with center of influences, how to do that. Because one center of influence can change your life completely. One, the right one, can change your life completely. Instead of going to hundreds of people, one center of influence can do that. And this is obvious. People with money. I mean, this is very, very obvious. If you have a product, only go to people who can afford that product. Don't go to people who can't afford the product. And it may sound very cold, but that's just the way it is. It's not good for you to go to people with no money and you have a great product and you explain the whole thing to them and you're almost like teasing them saying, here it is, but you can't have it because you're poor, you know, so you don't want that. And secondly, you went there, spent your time, and knowingly you're doing all that work and then saying, you know what, nobody buys my product. So go with people with money. You have to have, now if you're selling a $10 product, well, you know most people can afford it. You're selling $1,000, $10,000, $20,000 product, you need to go to the right people, the right clients to do that, right? At the end of the day. They must be able to do this. And the third thing is to exchange, not give away free, exchange values, okay? Now, very, very hard for a lot of people to do. So if you're a mentor, let's say you're a coach, you've been coaching people all your life, you know, telling your friends and giving advice, and you're doing it for free, and then you want, that's giving away. Exchange value means you're back 100 years ago, and I have 10 of these, you have 2 of these, and I say to you, can I have 2 of these for 10 of these? So you're exchanging value. Today, I don't have to have this, I just have to have a piece of paper that says it. So when a piece of paper comes in, there's something dirty, bad, wrong. They must have done something wrong. You know, about it. So money is becoming like, you know, it's not dirty. Money's good. So exchange value. How do you stand out? You give $1 million worth of your value for $500,000 of cash. Once again, if somebody gives you $1 million, that just means that you have to give $2 million worth of value to them. And that way you never will feel that you're taking advantage of people. And secondly, those people would be, and it's not the hour or the minutes that count, it's what is worth to that person. I want to become a best-selling author. Great. How long have you been trying to do that? All my life. I'm going to get you in there. Well, that's worth like hundreds of dollars. Well, I'm going to get you in there for $10,000. Great. I want to be in it. That's the value you have to give, because they can't do it themselves. They don't have contacts, they don't have connections, they can't do it. You use your influence, your power to grow others, to uplift people. And that's how you get uplifted, right? So standing out, write books with COIs. I can tell you my growth went crazy when I started writing books with Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy, Robert Allen, of the world to do that, because their brand, their name is worth over hundreds of millions of dollars. And if you just co-author, not as a student, but as a co-author alongside of them, that gives you huge value in whatever business you're in. It's just the way it is. Books. Somebody said speaking, teaching, right? Speaking. These are some of the things that you can do. And I'm running out of time because I know I started late. I wanted to give you so much value for you guys before we finish off. And last thing I want to say to you is that if you're not a member of my club, you should become one, especially if you want to do what we talked about, which is to build passive income, to connect with center influences, connect with people with money, and things like that. My membership used to be 1 year, now extended to 5 years, because most people have a goal of doing stuff for 5 years. So 5 years, you get 4 training sessions, live sessions in Mississauga per year. And there are a lot of other goodies that come along when you become a member. The big thing you get is that I have my students who are doing really well, who have made $1 million at least. They will coach you for 6 months, which just started, as part of becoming a member of my club. That's huge at the end of the day to make it happen. That's one thing that I was missing, because I charge $20,000 to mentor one-on-one, and I take 4 people at a time to do that. And what I've done, you talked about the standing out part, is that I say to you, look, you come in, you fill out an application that has questions. I took the police detective questions and I wrote it in there, and I picked the people that I want to mentor. Why? Because after 6 months, I don't want to spend time with people that are not going to do well, that I know in advance, one. Secondly, those people that come in, I give them this guarantee that you must make minimum of $20,000 with me, or I'll keep mentoring you. So I don't want to keep doing that. And most people can't afford. Yeah, exactly. I don't. I mean, that's the bottom line. And bottom line is, we come up with a goal and say we want to do this, and it's just like a step by step to make it happen. So the entry level is to become a member for 5 years, and the next level is to do one-on-one mentoring with me. Only the people that are very serious, and approximately 90% of the applications that I get, I do not accept, even at $20,000, because 6 months of my time working with somebody who has my cell phone and all that kind of stuff, it's not worth my time to do it in today's environment, because I want to make sure to do that. But having a mentor and a coach, you guys already know this, and I don't want to say it, it's very, very important. You should have it. But if that's not something you want to do, at least become part of the family. At least become part of the ride to make that happen. I wish you all the best. If you have any questions, I'll stick around for a few more minutes, and we'll go from there. Yes?
You know what, let's give Sunil a big hand for a second.
Yeah.
However, I think it'd be amiss, for you to not maybe just share with us a little bit about your upcoming book.
Okay.
Because I think we're all entrepreneurs and we all want to make more money, right? And what you've done, Sunil, like I've seen you grow from 2005 to just a giant in this industry.
Thank you.
And I know that's part of your secret weapon. Do you guys want that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
All
since
right.
you're here anyways.
Sounds good. So when I was mentoring people one-on-one, one of the things they would say to me is that, how do I grow? How do I have my influence? How do I become center of influence? Something like that. And one of the things I used to say to them, write a book, write a book, write a book. I mean, write a book and stuff like that. And they say, yes, we should write. Then what I used to do is I used to mentor them how to do that. And what ended up happening was 80% of those people, even who paid me a huge amount of money, started the book but never finished the book and stuff like that. So what I started to do was I said, okay, I can help people produce a best-selling book, and I can help people get into a book with giants like Brian Tracy. So Brian Tracy, I brought Brian Tracy. Was anybody at the Brian Tracy's event? Okay, you guys were there. Good. So I brought Brian Tracy after a decade of trying to, because he was one of the people that really changed my life through his books and seminars and through his teachings and all that stuff. So my goal, my lifelong goal is this, to make 100 millionaires right now. The second lifelong goal is to meet all the people who don't know me, but they know I know them through their books, their works, and all that stuff, and actually go meet them, have lunch with them, dinner with them, and actually even do business with them if I can. So Robert Allen changed my life completely. I went to his home. I did a book with him, which is called Achieve, and we did the business together. And I brought people to him who are now doing business with him. Okay, so I know that a lot of times you can do and connect with center influences, and it could take some time. I have a formula for you, which is very, 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 very important, and that is this: if you write and co-author a book with guys like Brian Tracy, and you get that book published, and you tell people that you're co-authored, and it doesn't matter what business you're in, marketing, success, money, whatever it is, it will take you to the next level. If you try to do an ebook or something like that, that helps too. But writing a book with Brian Tracy is huge. So I'm writing it, Randy's in it, and a lot of my members are coming in doing this. So I have put this deal together, and the way it works is very simple. The way it works is I pay Brian Tracy for coming, and I pay him extra for the book. So he basically lends his photo name, and then there's a process that he approves or not approves each person at the end of the day. So we have an application, fill it out, it goes through it. So I look at it. If I don't think it's good, then we basically say no to you, or if he says no, because we're lending his name, his credibility to grow your business. So I have an opportunity where you can get into the book and co-author a book with me and Brian Tracy, which could take your business to absolutely next level. If you want to attract clients, you want to attract investors, you want to go to the next level, you want to have passive income, you want to do all these things, your influence is huge. People say, okay, well, why do I deal with this person and not this person? It's the influence. It's what they think of you at the end of the day. So I have an opportunity where you can write, co-author a book with Brian Tracy. It's $10,000, and we just started with this one where we're offering it at $497 times 12. So $497 times 12, meaning 12 months, and you get to go and co-author a book with Brian Tracy. If you wrote a book and you said to Brian Tracy, hey, can you, on the back of the book, can you just put a two-liner saying, this is a great book, or endorsement or something like that? Do you know what it costs to get, if you don't know Brian Tracy, do you know what it costs to have him review your book and write that? Does anybody? Oh, yes. If you're lucky, $10,000. That's how, $10,000 US, what it takes. Some of them will charge you $25,000 because now they're endorsing your book. But what I am talking about is you actually get in the book, same space, same thing, and you co-author a book with Brian Tracy. And what does co-authoring with Brian Tracy mean? It means that you're going to write one chapter, just like Brian Tracy, just like myself, and at the end of the chapter, it'll be a full-page bio of you, with your picture, about you, what you do, how do people connect with you. You get that book, and then you give it to people that are your potential clients, and now they have no reason to go and do business with anybody else other than you. And that is huge to make it happen for you guys. So it's $497 times 12. If you're interested, let me know. Or if you're interested in the membership with 5 years with me, let me know as well, and I'll be here for another 10 minutes or so. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best.
What's the details on the membership?
Membership is $3,000, and you get approximately, I have a package with scripts. I have package where, the assignment clause that you talk about, the assignment and the agreements, as well as books, DVDs, mentorship that we talked about. The big thing that we added recently, which was not available to others, is 6-month one-on-one mentorship with one of my students who I know. And I will start off the mentorship, they will take over, and then I will finish it off to see what goals you have. That alone, those students that I'm talking about that are doing it, they're doing a huge favor to me because they charge $5,000 to $10,000 for 6 months mentoring. And what I've said to them is work with me, and they get paid very little for me to make it happen. And this is their way of giving back, and hoping that they would be able to help and develop their portfolio to be able to say they've helped a lot of people. So I'm helping. So let's say you want to become a mentor. I said, hey, you want to become a mentor? Let me give you a few students, and let these students give you testimonials that they took your coaching and you did well. And then when you grow a year or 2 years from now, you can start charging $10,000 or more to make it happen as part of the deal. So they're building their portfolio, and then they're helping you. So it's great for you. It's great for them to make it happen.
Very good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you very much. I have some gifts. One is The Secret to Winning Big with Brian Tracy. In this audiobook, I talk about how do you brainwire yourself to success, meaning your thermostat is set for 21 degrees, as they talk about the MMI or something. And the 21 degrees means that you're making $10, $20, $50 an hour. How did I brainwire myself to become multimillionaire? So in here I talk about how to do that. Does anybody not have this audiobook? Somebody want one? Okay, so I have 3 of them. I'll give one to this. Okay, and in this book I talk about, with Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul, I talk about how I bought 77 properties the first year that we talked about. Is there anybody who doesn't have this book? Who wants it? Okay, so whoever got that audiobook, I'll just give it to people who didn't get the audiobook. So who doesn't have the audiobook?
I don't have it.
Yeah.
And in this book with Robert Allen, I talk about how to raise millions of dollars as a real estate investor, because without raising that, you wouldn't be able to do that. I have one more copy. Who wants it?
Thank you.
You're welcome. And come and see me for if you want to write a book with Brian Tracy, and I'll become a member of my club. Thank you very much. Take me first.